I hate my jobs and want to quit, help please. I, 26 female, currently have 2 jobs. One is a receptionist at an overpriced lash studio. The other is evening front desk at an outdated timeshare resort. At the studio, I work Tuesday-Thursday, 9-4, Friday, 9-6, depending on when the last client is, and Saturday, 9-3. At the resort, I work Tuesday 4-9, Thursday and Saturday 3-9, and Sunday varies from morning or evening shift 9-3-3-9 or 9-9, which is what I started at. The resort is also only open April, October, and they lay off any non-management staff in the off-season, which I wasn't told about until my first week in. We're in a pretty touristy part of Massachusetts and get very busy in the summer, only to die off in the winter months. So we're slowly getting busy with people choosing earlier to arrive each year. I started at the studio in March of 2024, and in October, I was told by the original owner that she would be staying mostly at her second location come November, to ensure it got the traction needed to stay open. She said she hired my new owner, Lisa, as a manager, and would still be the owner if we needed anything. Turns out that was a lie. She had sold the business to Lisa and would be helping out financially the best she could. Another lie. In March of this year, Lisa had a meeting with me about closing the studio, as she had not spoken to the previous owner since they signed the paperwork, and business was almost too slow to keep open. She informed me she had a job waiting for me at the resort, and that once the studio was closed, I would start there. If the studio was still open, we would work on my schedule as best we could, and added her daughter M, 16 female, could cover after school at either the studio or resort if she didn't work her other job. In April, I was told we would keep the studio open, but adjust the hours so I would leave the studio to work at the resort for a few weeks, and end of April would be our last day. As of today, May 9th, the studio is still open, and I bounce between both places though out the week with only Monday as my full day off. The landlord has been super picky about picking a new tenant for the studio space before we're allowed to leave, and has suggested we stay open until June. Lisa already told insurance people, her accountant and one of our technicians about the studio closing, and our other put in her 2-week notice. I had to discuss a change for my Sunday to be cut in half, because it began to take a physical toll on me, to the point my period was over 2 weeks late, which only happens when I am under too much stress. She understood, but told me the landlord is still being picky, and wants us to stay though the end of June, which she is actively trying to avoid. She is working at the timeshare and its sister resort the same hours I am a week, and is exhausted. We've tried to cut my days at the studio more, but have gotten so busy we simply can't. My fiancé, 24 male, has been an absolute gem of a man since this whole debacle started. Working his own job, which cut him down to 2 days a week, doing the cooking, dishes, laundry, and grocery shopping, and his mom, 51 female, has been helping find a job the insurance company she works for to help me out of the customer service loop we're stuck in. I have been so grumpy, sad, and moody when I get home. I keep crying the minute I have a moment to myself. Now I just want to say, I know these jobs are easy, maybe a rouge Karen on occasion, or overly rude customer, but still. I mostly sit on my iPad watching YouTube or answering the phones and doing transaction paperwork or housekeeping paperwork, but I am physically and emotionally drained by the end of the day. I added my hours up at both jobs, and collectively I work 58 hours just this week. It changes as I have to go in early to relieve Lisa at the resort, or get to leave the studio after the last client on Fridays. And just last night, we had an argument about cash in the drawer at the studio being over what it should have been, because I put my own $100 in the drawer, in case I needed it for a client and forgot to mention it. So when I swapped with her daughter Tuesday, there was more there than there should have been. I also took over ordering products from Amazon like glue, paper towels, under iPads, to help Lisa out since she was paying my paycheck out of pocket. I recognize I should have told her about the leftover cash and that I had begun ordering supplies on her behalf, but I was under the impression it would be closed by now. I know she also didn't have to find another job for me, and could have just closed the studio without telling me, and I really appreciate how great of a boss she has been, but I feel so drained, and the stress is seeping into my relationship, and I simply don't know what to do. I'm working with my fiance's mom this week after work to apply for the jobs with her, which would be remote, and he has an interview on Saturday for a very promising job at a pet supply chain. I don't want to let anyone down, but I am exhausted, constantly tired, my head hurts, and I feel dizzy and overwhelmed. I know others work twice as long and twice as hard and can handle it, but I simply cannot. What do I do? What do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comments. Follow and like for more stories,